Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Watchers for July 25th. My name is Garrett,
And I'm Adrian.
and as usual, we got a bunch of stories we want to talk about today, some movie news, some movie reviews, and all sorts of fun shenanigans that we typically get up to on this stream. But before we start, Adrian, how the heck have you been doing over the last week?
Good. Almost fully recovered from my little bout of sickness. I went for a run for the first time in like 2 weeks, it felt like. So that was really good. Getting back into it is really, really fun. So that been, good accomplishment day. And went back to the office for the first time today as well for work. So it's been kind of a getting
Awesome.
back to it week. How about yourself?
It's been good. Been pretty keeping busy with work, which is either good or bad, depending on who you ask. But really excited to get to talk about some stuff coming up because this last weekend was pretty busy for those of us who did the double feature. So, but we get to talk about that in a little bit. Let's go ahead. We actually have two comments going on. Both Danelle and Zach are blown away and saying change of background. Yes, I'm actually dog sitting for my parents. So
They love the new background, huh?
yeah, apparently I just have to stream from here every Tuesday now. So bad news for my parents. I'm moving back in. I'm just kidding. They wouldn't have me. Anyhow, let's go ahead and dive right into our stories for this week. That's the wrong button. I'm on a laptop.
Decided
I'm
to
not on
leave,
my
huh?
computer, so that's the problem. Let's go ahead and dive right in. As we said, first story up is that because of the dual strikes going on right now in Hollywood, several studios are weighing the option of delaying film releases due to these strikes. The big kind of storied ones are Dune 2, and I believe I'm forgetting the other one off the top of my head right now. But the big reason is that movie stars can't promote these movies, and they if they can't promote them, the studios don't feel like they're going to get people to go see it, which is kind of stupid because of how well Dune did in theaters. Like
You'd
that,
think people would go see it anyway, yeah.
yeah. I guarantee no one's going to watch the BuzzFeed video that's interviewing Timothy Chalamet for the 45th time. Like no one cares. Just put out the movies. Like if you want to make your money, while these actors and writers are on strike, maybe put out the movie in theaters. I don't know.
I disagree to a certain extent though, because like for example, this big weekend you're talking about, there's no way that many people would have gone to see Barbenheimer had the marketing and promotion not been there.
True, but there was more to Barbie's marketing and Oppenheimer's marketing than cast interviews or cast people doing things. Barbie had a significantly huge global marketing campaign that wasn't tied to its actors. It was just it was like the Barbie house you could rent in Miami. It was
Yeah,
Barbie locations everywhere. So there's other ways they can market it,
sure.
but I don't know. I think it's kind of stupid. They're just going to continue to hemorrhage money if they don't put something out.
Well, I think that's the whole point. Is so that way they can.
I'm saying they're making it worse if they
Yeah,
don't put out those movies. So it's kind of a stupid move regardless.
and now it's just me. And now I'll be talking about how Barbenheimer led to the best box office weekend of 2023. No surprise, just like we were talking about, the marketing for this duo was absolutely insane. With I think they were saying over 20,000. AMC alone had over 20,000 people with tickets to both films in the same day. So huge weekend. We'll talk about box office numbers kind of down at the end of the stream as always, but no surprise.
Yeah, it's I can tell you, I haven't seen a theater that full. Not just the theater itself, but the lobby. I haven't seen lobbies that full since probably Endgame, Infinity War times. So it's really good news for the industry for movie theaters. So that they're getting butts in seats, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Speaking of Barbie, for those of you who've seen the film, America Ferrera's Barbie speech apparently took 2 days and 30 to 50 takes to get correct. This is, after seeing the film, makes sense. It took, I think it was a close, if it wasn't a one take, it was close to a one take. So it was pretty involved, and there's a lot she had to say. So kind of crazy that it ended up taking that long to do.
I didn't see it, so fun news story for me. Speaking of things that had a lot to say, the nude scenes in Oppenheimer are censored in India, Indonesia, and Pakistan. They've done, specifically for Florence Pugh, they've done like a black CGI dress that they kind of put over her. And it's actually the only CGI in the film is in the places where it's censored. The entire rest of the movie is, in fact, no CGI.
Yeah, kind of weird. I mean, I something to do. I know for India, there's like a far right contingent that's been taking over and kind of censoring more and more. So, but no reasons given for Indonesia and Pakistan. I mean, I don't feel like we've seen many, stories about censorship of things like that recently. Which, I mean, they at least maybe they're not making the news as much. Again, there's not much movie news to go around right now because of the strikes. But, I mean, kind of interesting to see that it happened regardless. Next up, speaking of the strikes, the Screen Actors Guild negotiator has said that the strike may last until 2024, which is horrible news for these writers and actors that you're depending on the money and depending on the work, because now there's articles all over the place. It is starting to affect other people. It's affecting the crews. It's affecting the editors. The camera crews, the transportation teams. It's affecting everyone now because of the studio's indifference.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of the strike, right? It's to put pressure on everybody, so it's working.
Yep, exactly. But hopefully it doesn't last till 2024. Hopefully we can get something solved.
Speaking of not working, Beetlejuice 2 had a sculpture stolen from the set. I haven't been able to find any photos of what the actual thing was, or at least in relation, like I've seen what people think it is, but pretty fun stuff. I think that's really exciting. I love when people steal stuff from sets.
I mean, usually it's just the actors taking home something they want, but this sounds like it was something completely different, because I don't think the movie hasn't even filmed yet. Like, it was in the process of filming before the strikes happened, so,
Or we could be seeing some really good viral marketing starting to take place.
There we go, making up for the lack of cast puppy interviews on BuzzFeed. That's how you do it. You steal sculptures.
What if the sculpture starts popping up at key locations around the world and people?
I feel like it's really early to start promoting Beetlejuice 2, but sure. I mean, hey, I'm all for experimental marketing and timing. It's all good. Speaking of experimental, even not really, we are in fact at San Diego Comic-Con. DC announced that we are getting an animated adaptation of Watchmen coming from their animation team that does a lot of their kind of straight to DVD, straight to streaming animated films, a lot of which are fine, actually.
Sure.
I would say the DC ones are probably better than a lot of their live action movies, but it's kind of cool to see we're getting another crack at it. It will be R-rated, which is great because Watchmen is not a family-friendly story. So, I mean, hey, I'm all for it. I'm always down to give it a chance. I think they've had a pretty decent track record with doing the big, like the Long Halloween and things like that. So we'll see what happens. It could be bad, but it's really going to depend on the voice cast and what they make it look like.
Sure. Well, with the way animation's going right now, I imagine it's going to look pretty good, and probably a pretty unique style too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Speaking of a pretty unique style, Fast X director Louis Leterrier wants to make a Fortnite movie, which is the only logical person I could imagine to make a Fortnite movie. Pretty much Fast and Furious is a Fortnite movie already if it was just focused on cars. The energy and the casting is all there, so I'm actually on board. I think that could be a good Fortnite movie if done correctly.
I think it's something. I was reading a little bit of what he was saying, and he's like, "Oh, there's a huge cast of characters. You can make it funny. You can make it action-packed." And I was like, "Yeah, you could." I feel like the only director or the directors that could also do it, besides Louis Leterrier, would be the Russo brothers, because they already were engaged so much with Fortnite because of the Avengers tie-in stuff, and I think they actually were in a Fortnite event or something at one point. So, and I know they are fans of it themselves, so they could be on the block as well.
We'll see.
That's if it even happens. I know. Was it Epic Games makes Fortnite, and I think they had commented on the possibility of a film, and said that anything's possible, but that nothing was in the works. So maybe
I also just wonder if it'll actually be live action, or if it will be again like an animation style film that kind of fits into the world a little bit. It'd be kind of impressive if they built it in Unreal Engine 5 to show off the capability of its own engine. Because that could look pretty real. It could look almost photoreal. So I'd be fascinated to see what they end up doing with that.
And it can't be too hard to animate the characters as they look, because they're already pretty cartoony compared to a lot of other video games. So like I feel like it works. You just have to, again, you have to find the right voice cast.
But with all the emotes as well, like pretty much they have full bone and skeletal structure built into the animation. So making I mean, you could do it.
You could easily do it. 100%.
Yeah.
It'd probably be just as big as the Super Mario Brothers movie if it's done right.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving right along, talk about things that may not be good. Early box office projections for Blue Beetle are not looking good.
Shocker.
Yeah, this is coming on the heels of The Flash performing terribly at the U.S. box office. Blue Beetle is projected to make $12 to $17 million on its opening weekend.
Horrific.
Yeah, really, really bad. I mean, I hope that it gets good word of mouth if it's a good film. I hope it gets some positive buzz and people go to see it if it's good. But
I mean, I didn't see The Flash because of all the feedback. Flash is one of my favorite superheroes, but I did see still frames of the cameos. I can't believe that movie even released. It looked so bad. So this is no wonder the projections have absolutely tanked for this. I could have seen this coming a mile away.
I will say from the trailers, though, Blue Beetle does seem to have better visual effects. But
it's tough, though, to follow up your own studio. It's not easy to do.
True. And all they have to do is shift the blame to, the DCEU and not, it's not James Gunn's, so, yeah, like, that's all they have to do.
I know. But speaking of the strike again, the Wicked movies have been halted because of the strike 10 days before wrapping. So right before it could have entered post-production and been on its way and been done, it is halted. So I assume there's a couple of shots that still need to be shot and a couple of things that need to be done to finalize the film. So this may delay the movies inevitably. We'll have to just see when this actually ends up resolving.
Yep, with 10 days left to film, I'm amazed it wasn't granted some sort of waiver to continue filming. I mean, I know it's a major studio film and the major studios are the problem, but if it's that close to release, there probably could have been some way they could have, worked out some sort of deal. But again, that's if the actors would even come to work.
Yeah.
So. And finally, on the heels of getting a brand new trailer today, we do have the release date for the second new Exorcist film entitled The Exorcist Deceiver, coming out on Easter weekend 2025, and that is a great release date for an Exorcist movie, Easter weekend.
Of course.
I'll be going on Easter Sunday to go see it multiple times.
Oh, nice, multiple times.
Yeah, the movie theater's my church, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I love the names here with Believer, Deceiver, and Sigourney Weaver being the third one. I think there's going to be some good. The third one is really exciting for me.
But that is going to be it for the stories. I'm interested to see what the third one's going to be. If it's Believer, Deceiver, and whatever the last one's going to be. Hopefully it's some sort of kind of crazy title, and hopefully it doesn't drop the ball like Halloween Ends did. But
it definitely still has to have a hard R, just like the other two.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, depends on what hard R you're talking about, but
Believer, Deceiver.
Let's go ahead and get to some comments before we talk about what trailers we saw this week. Talk to Knoss says, hi. Hello, buddy. Zach Stanridge, totally disagree on Oppenheimer.
Talking about the marketing.
Oh, the marketing. Okay. Our friend Horror and More, we need a Tillian Boom Boom cam. Unfortunately, it's just my laptop camera, and I don't have a second one. And they're not even in this side of the house, so... Danelle, I agree more that the movie's marketing matters more than influencer marketing and actor interviews. 100%. That, like, trailers are watched... I'm not, there's no math that I've done, but probably like 10 times as much as any BuzzFeed variety interview, anything.
Like, I think I agree, first off, that I think that the movie marketing is more important than influencer, but I think what you start to lose without the influencer marketing is the halo effect of being able to post clips of interviews on TikTok and on social media, where you just start to oversaturate everybody's feeds. Like, we couldn't go a single day without seeing a Cillian Murphy or Margot Robbie interview, just a clip all over the internet, because it was everywhere. And I think that's what you miss out on, is that like complete, again, halo effect. But I agree that I think the main is, like you just said, the trailer. Like the main key components are what the production house does and what the studios do.
And actually, you know, I think this could be a boom for marketing companies to really experiment with new and innovative ways to market film than just, you know, doing those interviews or doing other kinds of, you know, things where you have the actors involved. I mean, hey, think about those videos you see on TikTok or YouTube, like, you know, when they had The Nun came out and they had the woman dressed as the nun who would like chase people down the street or whatever. Like that's so much. Those videos get more views than any kind of interview. So like, there's a lot of ways they could really experiment with it.
I think it'd be really funny if they did full influencer interviews, but just with stand-ins instead of the actual people. So it would literally be like for Oppenheimer, and then we have Cillian Murphy, and it's just a random guy that's like, "Hello."
It just reminds me. I don't know if anyone watches Moist Critical, but whenever he has like an award show appearance or whatever, he hires like 3 people dressed up as him to go and do his interviews. That would be so
The
funny.
best was Hannibal Buress. He was invited to actually to win an award. He was nominated for something, and he just hired a guy on Craigslist, another black guy, to go, and he didn't show up, and no one knew it wasn't him. People interviewed him, and like just people that had no clue what he looked like.
So it was so good. Actually, and I forgot to mention, we did have another story that came up after I put everything into StreamYard today, which is that Dwayne Johnson did the largest single donation to the Screen Actors Guild ever in support of other actors. It was in the millions, and hopefully will help sustain people, which is
trying to buy his good favor back, huh?
Yeah, no amount of money can erase Black Adam. Then Danelle said, "Free the nipple." Yes, free the Oppen nipple. That's what we need to be out there. Zach, domestic open for Barbie beats total domestic for The Flash. Yep, what a time to be alive. Well, hey, if you'd seen Barbie, it's so much better than The Flash. It's so much better. Matt Walls, welcome back. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. We haven't seen you for a while. Welcome back. Zach Stranders, Sigourney Weaver. Hey, we're in Boston now.
Just dropping the hard R. That's what he's doing.
Dropping it. And Toxa says, "Hey, Matt." Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the stuff we saw online over the last couple weeks. These are the trailers we saw over the last week going through at the bottom. Adrian, what stuck out to you? What was
A Haunting in Venice, of course, the Agatha Christie. I'm a huge fan of these murder mystery movies, and this one looks cool that they're mixing it with some horror genre vibes, so I'm super down for it. It looks really fun.
Yeah, I'm totally down for A Haunting in Venice. Hopefully it's a rebound. I wasn't that big a fan of Death on the Nile. I know you were. Hopefully it's better than the previous two and kind of continues to justify the existence of that franchise, because I think that Kenneth Branagh does a great job as Poirot and does a great job directing it. For me, I think the Exorcist Believer trailer was pretty good. It was just a teaser. I love the little stings of the Exorcist theme that it played.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little worried it's kind of going the path of other recent supernatural exorcism films where it's just like, how much like can we get away with instead of just being properly scary. But again, it was a teaser trailer, so I'm waiting to see an actual trailer. Or maybe I won't even watch the next trailer. I'll just go to theaters and experience it completely blind. But I will say that the new Marvels trailer for the Marvels, I think the movie's looking pretty good. And then early test screenings are saying that it's going to be hopefully just as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was. So
Gran Turismo also looks pretty good. I did enjoy the second trailer as well.
Gran Turismo is looking good too. So, but that is it for the trailers that came out this week. We had a couple of comments come in. Hey, this is other Joey. Free the nipple. What I miss? We talked about how Oppenheimer was censored in a couple of countries for its nude scenes. So
I will say I was
free the nipple.
I thought they're based off like the marketing and stuff that they, or not marketing, but what people had said. I thought there would be more nudity in the movie. I know there was quite a bit, but I feel like I definitely thought there was going to be more.
I certainly thought it would be probably more graphic.
Yeah,
than it was.
Agreed. Yeah,
I certainly don't think it I mean, it was enough that it probably warrants an R rating. Given
agreed, but it wasn't like I don't know. I didn't feel like it was like I don't think anyone should have left the theater because of it. Like I don't think it was anything crazy.
No, yeah, it certainly wasn't nearly as bad as other films, but it was for an artistic purpose. So, but let's go ahead and move right along because we've kind of exhausted through the rest of those comments now. Now's the part where I get to talk about the movies that I watched over the course of the last week, and I will actually save. And Adrian, I'm going to get your feedback on this. I'm going to save the ones that I watched as part of the wheel spin for the end when we do the next wheel spin.
Okay.
So I'm going to differentiate those. But these were the movies I watched. Oh, you was going to say something? Nope.
No.
Okay. Alrighty. I thought I heard you in the background. Maybe it was something in the background. All right. Well, first movie I watched over the last week was Faster from 2010, starring Dwayne Johnson. Gave it a 25 out of 100. Pulp action can't save this slog of a film that's so weighed down by cliches and flat performances that you want to forget it. Points for some fun performances from Johnson and Thornton, but that's about it. Would not recommend this movie. Next up, what I would recommend is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy from 2005 with Martin Freeman and Sam Rockwell and Zooey Deschanel. 78 out of 100 is what I gave it. A thoroughly enjoyable and funny time with great humor, visual effects, and production design. While some of the performances can be a little flat and its third act feels a little rushed and convenient, it's still a wonderfully unique and unexpected ride into the fringes of space. It's a pretty great time with some British humor, so I would recommend it for those of you looking to have something different. After that was the classic comedy National Lampoon's Vacation. Gave it a 66 out of 100. Said, while there are parts that haven't aged well, the movie does have its iconic comedic moments. A lot of it plays off as cringy as a cringy family road trip, which isn't usually my cup of tea. But it's at its best when it's raunchier. I mean, come on, there's the rant that the father gives towards the end of the film. Oh, that's gold. Moving right along, we had the double feature this weekend. First up was Barbie, which I gave a 90 out of 100 to. I absolutely love this movie. This was a film made by a lover of film, and I respect and love it for it. From its opening moments to its surprisingly emotional ending, Barbie is a fantastic ride and is a joy to watch. Highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, I mean, a lot of people have. Biggest opening weekend of the year so far. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. But we had Oppenheimer come out. And Oppenheimer is a masterpiece through and through. 100 out of 100. Hauntingly and brilliantly told by Nolan, Oppenheimer is an unequivocal masterpiece. There's no weak link from its cast to its production. Murphy and Downey Jr. are Oscar-worthy. If history class was as good as this, I'd be a history major. So, that is it for the films that I watched this week and the reviews therein for them. If you'd like to see anything else or follow me live as I post these, you can go to Letterboxd, and there is my username, of which you can follow me.
Yeah, completely agree. Oppenheimer was incredible. I went and saw it with my Joey in this chat, not you, Joey, the other one. And yeah, we did get to go see it. Oh, Garrett and I were talking a little bit before, but we did get to see it in one of the 30 theaters of 70mm, and my goodness, it was absolutely incredible. Absolutely an awe-inspiring film, and I mean, we were talking about it pretty much the entire rest of the night, trying to pick apart things and understand more, and I mean, just a masterclass in filmmaking. Excited to go see Barbie, but I haven't had the chance to yet, so looking to go see that.
Yeah, highly recommend Barbie. It was really funny because there were a couple parents in there with kids, and it was funny to watch them leave halfway through because the movie is not made for children. I will say that right now. Couple of comments though. Zach says, if Marvel's is as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I'd be shocked. Well, that's just what early first viewings are saying. Those aren't usually to be trusted though. Usually you want to wait until we actually see some reviews or Twitter first impressions or whatever kind of comes out. Giving real Quantum Mania vibes. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it kind of feels like classic, Marvel kind of comedy. More like Ragnarok. Less like Quantum Mania, I would say, at least from what I picked up on the trailer. And Cassidy is saying same. My Joey is saying, I respectfully disagree for Oppenheimer. At most, maybe a 90. It's great, but not 100 great. Well, hey, it's those are opinions. We don't have to share them. I thought it was great, though, from beginning to end. Yeah. Danelle, excited to see Barbie after the stellar review. It is so good.
Same.
There's a lot of things that people need to hear nowadays. So, highly recommend it. Cassidy, there can be only one Joey. A duel is in order. Hey, it's the Highlander rules. But apparently Highlander rules include a hot dog eating.
As they should.
A hot dog eating duel. Alrighty. Well, thank you for those comments.
And now enough about what Garrett did watch this past week. We've got a couple of big ones coming out this weekend. First, we have a Haunted Mansion coming out to wide release. A single mom named Gabby hires a tour guide, a psychic, a priest, and a historian to help exorcise her newly bought mansion after discovering it is inhabited by ghosts. Pretty clearly based off the ride from Disney, so this one's a pretty big release. I'm getting a lot of mixed feedback from friends. I feel like some people are really excited for this, some people aren't. So if you're going to check this out, let us know in the comments. The movie you'll catch me seeing is Talk to Me, the new A24 horror movie. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. If you haven't seen the trailer for this, check it out. It looks like it's going to be a killer horror movie. Then we have Susie Searches coming out to limited release, an awkward college student who seizes the opportunity to bolster her popularity and her under-the-radar true crime podcast by solving the disappearance of a classmate. This looks really fun. It's got Alex Wolff in it and Jim Gaffigan, so kind of like an oddly big cast. I feel like Claire C. Clemens is a big person, but I'm not sure what she's been in before. Then we have The Essential Church. Coming out to limited release as well. The governments use COVID Emergency Act edicts to restrict the gathering and worship of the church. 3 pastors facing the risk of imprisonment, unlimited fines, and their own churches splitting apart take a courageous stand and reopen in the face of a world that has chosen to comply. If that interests you, I feel like you know exactly that you're going to go see that. And if it didn't, then I feel like you're not going to go see it. And then last but not least, coming out this weekend, we have the first Slam Dunk coming out to limited release. Follows Ryota Miyagi, a 17-year-old boy who, after... This is written in a different language. Who, after he loses to his elder brother Sato, he struggles to accomplish Sato's dream to be a basketball star. That was my loose interpretation of the description of a sentence that was not written correctly, but it does have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So if that can reel you back in, maybe that's where it'll get you.
Yeah, it's an anime film about basketball, and which is kind of unheard of. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and is, I think, an early list maker for animated feature of the year behind Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Miyazaki's new film.
There you go. Nice.
Hopefully a good year for anime films. My Joey says you can call me Jose, which is my legal name. So there's that. Well, we got Jose and we got Joey.
Got it, Jose.
The battle is over. Matt Wall says, can't wait to see Talk to Me. Can't wait to either.
Know.
Really looking forward to that. I forget the name of the YouTube channel. I think it's Raka Raka. The guys did before.
Yep.
Loved that channel when I was in high school. I'm glad to see that they're still around doing content. And they're actually doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving right along. That's enough about what came out or was coming out this weekend. Let's talk about what came out last weekend. And oh boy, was it a great weekend for the movie theater business. We have Barbie coming in first place with $162 million. I believe that is the biggest opening weekend of the year. And honestly, after going to see it on Saturday and how full that theater was, I believe it. In second place is Oppenheimer with $82.5 million, doubling what they thought the projections would be for its opening weekend, which is huge. I haven't seen an IMAX theater packed like that probably since Avengers Infinity War. In third place, we have Sound of Freedom with $19.8 million. Fourth place, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 with $19.4. Oof. From 1 to 4. To be fair, it was a pretty stacked against it weekend.
Yeah.
The power of Barbenheimer knows no bounds. In fifth place, hanging on, is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So, pretty crazy weekend. Honestly, I think if Kevin's still in the chat, he can attest just how busy that theater was. And it was so nice to have that many people in a theater again, having fun, watching movies together. It was a cathartic experience. Like, I've talked about when we were on the podcast and other things where going back to the theater after COVID was like really nice because it was like coming home. This was like another cathartic moment. It was fantastic.
Looking around during our IMAX showing of Oppenheimer and seeing not a single empty seat was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. I think Kevin and the entire time kept looking behind him like, Wow, there's a lot of people in here. So, let's see here. We got some comments before moving on. Joey says, I go by Joe now anyway. Can you confirm or deny that, Adrian?
I can confirm. It's just really interesting that his username says otherwise.
Yep. Joey, yeah. Why is there still a Y in your username? Nobody is Joey. Well, then nobody's Joey. That's unfortunate. Cassidy, there can only be no Joey. Our friend Jose, I wonder if Oppenheimer was as long as Barbie, would it have been higher?
I don't think the time limit. I think the people that wanted to go see it are the people that went and saw it. I don't think the time had anything to do with it.
I honestly think that the initial numbers would have been higher if it wasn't an IMAX, because a lot of people were going to see this in IMAX. It was probably one of the best performing IMAX films in quite some time. But there's only so many seats and so many showings you can do in IMAX.
Exactly.
So I think that kind of limited it a little.
I think like for the 70mm showing, there was 3 showings the whole first day. Whereas normally for like a Marvel release, you have standard 3D. You have like all kinds of different showings going on in the tens of digits. So yeah, I think it was just a limited viewing type.
Yep. Zach, Sound of Freedom outpacing Dead Reckoning seems like let's say it's an underdog story for sure. And I mean, yeah, it also outpaced The Flash as well. I may not like the people behind the film, but it's got an audience. And when you have a film that's made for an audience, they're going to go and support it. And I think that
absolutely,
I may not be a fan of the film or the people behind it, but it's making more money for movie theaters. It's getting butts into seats and off their couch, and that's at the end of the day, that's a good thing. Kevin, it was crazy busy. All the seats had butts in them. Yep, 100%. Joe, I almost said Joey, is asking for you to show everyone your 70mm film reel. Oh, look at we get a full body review. Was not expecting that. Woo.
Only 30 theaters in the world get that view. Kind of hard to see. Do I have here, I'll use the book Garrett got me. The Power of Film is the white background. Is this the correct way that it's showing?
I believe so. Oh, we're seeing it backwards.
Okay. So when we went to the midnight premiere, Joe went with me. We didn't really know that this would happen, but they gave everyone an IMAX film cell thing. So it's got the title, and then it's got 3 scenes from the movie on a little IMAX film strip. So I'm kind of trying to see where the best angle is on this. You've got the press interview thing. You've got him with the glasses. I'm trying not to spoil it if you haven't seen it. And then a picture of the bomb. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I always loved it when I feel like for the longest time they weren't giving out kind of promotional things at IMAX showings anymore, and I'm so glad you got something. That's so cool.
It was cool. It's totally a surprise too, so that's super fun.
That's when it's the best.
Yeah.
I think I still have my IMAX midnight showing poster for Prometheus somewhere too, which I love that poster. Joe PTS is taken everywhere. Well, sometimes you gotta ask why.
Did I just hear clapping? What was that?
I didn't hear anything.
Audio? I just heard a sound clip of a studio clapping.
Maybe it was somewhere on your computer? I don't know. I didn't play anything. We don't have sound effects here.
Okay.
Matt Wall's laughing.
Oh, it was the wheel. It spun on its own.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet giveaway. Adrian about to show the 7,000mm reel.
You know it.
If you're not careful, it'll be 11 miles long like the actual 70mm reel is.
They had to get an extender to fit it on the rack.
Yeah, and Cassidy says, hell yeah. There you go. And then we got some eyes on looking, and Joe was the one clapping for you.
I heard it from here. Thanks.
But that's going to lead us into the new segment. For those of you who are in the audience, go ahead and type in. We did this last week. I think it was actually the chat suggested we do this. Everyone, go ahead and share a film in the chat that will be put into a wheel spinner, and we will pick 2 of them, which will be among the movies that I will have to review on next week.
Are we doing 3 again?
we'll do 2. I did the third one as like I want to rewatch that one anyway.
Okay.
So we'll
All
do
right,
2.
then do you want to read your reviews while people start typing?
Absolutely. So go ahead and get those suggestions on in there. We will be clear, or kind of point it out if I have already seen or already reviewed the film. They can be films that I've seen before, but specifically we want to go for ones that I have not reviewed is the keyword. Alrighty. So as far as the films that I have watched from the last week, the first one that won was The Land Before Time, the 1988 classic animated film. And as you can see on the screen, I gave it a 70. So reasoning behind this was this short and sweet film is let down by some annoying child characters, an unevenly paced script, and I'm not a fan of Don Bluth's ugly animation style. Other than that, it's a surprisingly dark and well... I just realized I said it's unevenly paced, and then I said it's well paced later on. I mean, it's certainly the biggest thing. I was talking to Jose actually about this, is that it doesn't treat its audience like children. It treats them as smart individuals. It shows some darker things. It shows the parent, dying and the child grieving, and these things are darker and I think need to be more a part of family-friendly films. But again, I'm not a fan of Don Bluth's animation style. I don't like the fact that every single one of the main characters looks like they're 3,000 years old, even though they're supposed to be like a year old. They're a little over-detailed, I think. And then personally, I just think Littlefoot and Sarah are very annoying as characters. Personally, specifically Sarah, very poorly written character, in my opinion.
Fuck Sarah.
I wasn't going to go that far, but next up after that was Zodiac, which was the one that I said I would watch anyway because I love the film, and it's not surprising given my score for it, which is a 92. I said that David Fincher's meticulously crafted Zodiac is such a pleasure to watch. Great performances, incredible film details, and a never-ending sense of dread permeate throughout the film. It's a tad overlong, but that's such a minor complaint given the rest of the film. What's actually a really cool detail I learned about this, and maybe part of an upcoming new video series, is that every time the Zodiac is on screen or talks over the phone or whatever, it is a different person in the costume or a different person in the voice, because no one ever knows who they were and they never caught him.
Wow.
So no one ever matched. It was a really cool detail that I didn't know until this time, like my 5th time watching the film, that I was like, oh, what? That's cool.
That's when we saw another Robert Downey Jr. movie.
Saw 2 of them.
Yeah. Two
of his better performances, actually. Oppenheimer's an Oscar-worthy performance from Robert Downey Jr. Man, again, that ending. Oh, it was great. Anyhow, lastly, I had the pleasure of watching Nadia's favorite film, Our Good Friend Horror and More, her favorite film ever, which is Death Sentence, starring Kevin Bacon. And I broke the news to her yesterday. It's not a bad score. I did give it a 60. Compared to a lot of other revenge thrillers, it's better than a lot of them. As far as revenge thrillers go, it's better than most. Kevin Bacon seems like he's having a genuinely good time, and James Wan is doing all that he can to make the film stand out. However, its script is a little weak and cliche-ridden, and it doesn't really get going until its third act for me. Besides Bacon, the performances are really flat in this movie. They're really one note. They kind of just fill the character need. Still, it's better than the Taken films and anything kind of like them, and at least it does feel different because of its darker tone. So I will throw that out there. I was expecting to like the movie a lot less than I actually did,
nice.
And so it was actually somewhat of a pleasant time. So thank you, Nadia, for the suggestion on that one.
All right, we'll do 30 more seconds on any final movie suggestions. We've got 9 so far. We'll just hold out for just a bit longer. At 7:40, I will close the entry. Some last-minute entries.
Get those last-minute entries for the wheel spin, and we'll see what comes up. I've already seen one on here that I have already reviewed, and that would be Chicken Little. Sorry, Danelle.
Okay. Good suggestion. All right. We'll go ahead and lock it in. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. How?
Joe, we did cover Whiplash on the podcast, so that one was already covered by us.
All right. Can everybody see the screen?
We can now see it.
All right. Let me see how. Okay, yeah, cool. Let me make it full. All right, first spin.
There's already one movie that gets a hard pass. All right. Cool. Alrighty,
That's what I heard. Did you hear that? That's what I heard, and it scared me to death.
No, I didn't hear that because your screen wasn't being shared, so I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear anything when it went off. Okay, so Tremors is the first one. An interesting one for sure. And that was, I believe, Matt Walls. Thank you for the suggestion on that.
Oh, just narrowly got out of Armageddon.
And who said Stand
By Me?
Cassidy said Stand By Me. Thank you for the suggestion.
There we go.
Yeah. Kevin, I swear to God, I hate you for saying Eight-Legged Freaks. For those of you who don't know, I have a crippling arachnophobia, and I'm not watching that movie. That sounds terrible to me. And I'm sure the movie's can't be fun, but I physically can't watch it. Alrighty, I think it's fair enough to say, actually, let's go ahead and go over some of the comments here that were not film ones. Let's see. Cassidy said, "R.I.P. Ducky." Hey, Ducky was actually one of the characters I liked in that movie. Matt Walls, the Land Before Time soundtrack though slaps. The soundtrack is pretty good. The final credit song I wasn't too big a fan of, but the actual score was pretty great. Joe says, "All my homies hate Sarah."
There you go.
Sorry. Cassie says, "Love a good Ted Cruz documentary." Zodiac, yeah.
Would that be so funny if Christopher Nolan did his own Zodiac and it was a Ted Cruz documentary like Oppenheimer, but it was just about Ted Cruz?
That'd be so good. Danelle, Sarah just wants to be loved. Well, she did a horrible job of conveying it. Or more, I'll take the 60, but I think you meant 60 out of 60. Nope, I meant 60 out of 100. Still, I mean, hey, a film score is not like a score in high school. A 60 is not like a barely failing or barely passing grade. It's just what I happened to get out of 100. To be fair, a lot of the Taken movies that are similar would probably be in the 30-40 range, so you've kind of hit the cream of the crop there.
Yeah.
Matt Walls, all my chips were on yellow. Hey, go to Vegas. Or don't. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. If you want to go have fun, have fun. Zach Stanridge, is Jake Gyllenhaal the best American actor under the age of 45?
What a left field question.
Jake Gyllenhaal is very underrated for sure.
Oh, totally. With Driver or just Drive. And what else was his other really big one that he was just in recently? Oh, La La Land?
No, he wasn't in La La Land. That was Ryan Gosling.
Oh, these are the two I always get mixed up.
No, Jake Gyllenhaal was in like Prisoners. He was in Nightcrawler.
Mysterio.
He was good as Mysterio. I enjoyed his performance as Mysterio.
Prisoners. And
he's doing the upcoming Division movie based on the video game with Jessica Chastain. I wonder if that's even happening anymore. Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't know about the best. I'd have to look and see what other actors are under 45. So kind of
it was a spontaneous question. You put us in a spot. We'll do some research and get back to you.
Yes, we'll get our top men on it. Horror and more. I just watched Eight-Legged Freaks. It's awesome. I'll take your word for it. It's not happening over here. Kevin says, totally forgot to be honest. It's okay. Jose says, and as you said, we all have differing opinions. We do. Film is an art form. None of us are going to have the same opinions. Unless it's me and Kevin coming out of Oppenheimer, because we were pretty much on the same boat. And then Cassidy said Prisoners.
Hey, there you go.
I watched it like a while ago, and I need to rewatch it. It's the same director as Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Prisoners was a good one. Yep. Also, well, same director as Sicario as well.
Yeah.
Jose, I will keep suggesting Escape to Victory through at least August 20th. Okay, I don't know why it's a hard date of August 20th, but I'm gonna look this up on Letterboxd here. While I'm doing, actually, probably a good idea to go over the two movies that were already reviewed that were brought up, which were Chicken Little and what was the other one? I think that was it. I think it was just Chicken Little. Let me look up my my review for Chicken Little real quick. What have you been watching, Adrian, over the last week?
Watching. I finished SWAT, the TV show that's at least on Netflix. I finished all 5 seasons. That was really good. Haven't really been watching too much except Silo. We started on Apple TV. That's really good, based on one of my favorite trilogies of books. So highly recommend that if you have Apple TV. And then also, as I was talking about, Pikmin 4 came out, and it is a slap of a game. Majorly well-made game that's very, very fun. And I'm having a lot of really good times with it. Been playing it pretty much nonstop, so looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've there's not really anything I've been watching, like TV show wise or anything, that has stood out. The only kind of movie that I'm in the middle of right now, which we'll talk about next week, is the new Netflix movie They Cloned Tyrone.
Yes.
Which I'll be finishing that as soon as we're done here. Other than that, not a whole lot else. Just been doing a lot of modeling and painting for kind of miniature stuff, which we talked about.
Your nude modeling?
Yes. I've made precisely negative $500. People are actually requesting more refunds than I've had purchases.
That's actually not bad for your first year.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of nude models close down in the first year of opening.
We're like restaurants.
Yeah.
Back to the comments here. Cassidy, Prisoners is top 10 for me. I've heard it's like kind of a sleeper hit, for sure. Jake Gyllenhaal is doing a Roadhouse remake. Interesting. I haven't heard anything about that. It'd be cool if it was. Off topic, but did you give the treat roll to Booms and Tills? I will be giving it to them after this. I was letting their dinner settle first. So, they will get a treat. Jose, World Cup. Soccer movie. Yeah, it's a long, drawn-out soccer movie. It's very, very long. It's almost like a TV series. Yeah, hopefully the World Cup's going pretty well right now. So, Matt Walls, I watched Karate Kid 2 for the 1,000th time the other day. Is it really the 1,000th? I mean, hey, if it's your favorite movie, go for it. I am not one to get in the way of that. I think I've watched, like... Man, what would you say is a movie that you've watched that many times that you love that much?
Nothing.
I think we've talked about this before. You don't really like to rewatch a lot.
I don't think I've seen a single film. I mean, I've definitely rewatched movies, but I think the most I've ever seen one movie is I could count on one hand.
That's I understand, but it's kind of nuts at the same time. Because I feel like if probably the movie that I've seen the most in my life is Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and either that or maybe Airplane. Probably, I think it's Monty Python though.
It's a pretty good.
And I couldn't count on two hands how many times I've seen that movie. I've probably seen it at least 20 times, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like kind of like the same way I am with books. Like I've never reread a book, so
True.
like once I've read it or once I've watched the movie enough times, I could pretty much recite it for you, probably like verbatim or at least like scene by scene. So I feel like that's it. It lives in my memories from then on.
Well, here's a question. Do you have a TV show that you go to, like a comfort zone kind of place?
That changes. Right now it's Seinfeld. It's mostly whatever cast picks, to be honest. Like it's either The Office, Parks and Rec, Seinfeld, or Bob's Burgers right now, whichever. But it's not like I don't really fall asleep to the TV that much. I usually listen to podcasts, so.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just kind of going more for the angle of like that comfort zone thing that you can always just kind of put on and be able to kind of have in the background.
I think that's what it doesn't do for me.
Yeah.
I think like I like going to movies for the new experience. I don't really get that like comfort feeling out of rewatching something.
Yeah. I don't know. I like, there's definitely sometimes I like the comfort. There's definitely moments when I'm like, you know, especially because I try to watch a lot of movies that I haven't reviewed in a week, and I'm always drawn to just watch the comfort things. But you know, like, oh, I've seen this movie, and you know, I loved it. Like Airplane is on HBO Max again, and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind just sitting there and watching Airplane for the 30th time or whatever. You know, just because it's so funny to sit there and watch. But Yeah, I don't have any TV shows that look like that. Just I know a lot of people like The Office is their
that's a big
comfort
one.
thing. Jose, no, I meant the World Cup is through August 20th, and Escape to Victory is a soccer war film, trying to tie it all in. Nice. That's marketing, movie studios. You could tie it all in. I'll probably check it out. I wonder if it's actually streaming anywhere. I'll have to take a look after the show. But also, I forgot to answer the question about Chicken Little, but we'll get there in a second. And then Matt Walls, I've reread the Halo books, just the first 5. Those are really good books. The Halo books are good, specifically the first 4 or 5. Yeah, sometimes they get a little complicated for their own good a little bit later on, but yeah, like Fall of Reach. Whoo, that book hits hard every time. So who recommended Chicken Little? I think it was Danelle. Yeah, Danelle recommended Chicken Little. That was a part of the video we did for the YouTube channel where I watched all the Disney animated films and did the tier list for them all. Unfortunately, Chicken Little was one of the ones I did not like personally. Again, personal opinion. I did give it a 40. I just don't find it that funny or that creative. And it's also just full of a lot of incessant pop music, which is a cardinal sin for me in movies. You should really be leaning on your score. But it does have some good visual humor here and there. So, Zach says, Destiny seems like my guy's comfort replay outlet.
6 months ago, I probably would have agreed with you, but just not really that into it. I think I finally moved on with my life. Stopped spending money on that game, and it got pretty boring, and they didn't listen to the fan base, so not so much anymore. It's Pikmin now, baby. Pikmin all the way. Woo! Call me Olimar.
Pick those men. I mean, what?
We did look up, we were on Fortnite last night, and we did look up Pikmin Rule 34.
I don't know why. I was just
wild.
Thinking... We were talking about before the show, but I've been getting back into old Funhouse videos, and they always used to browse Rule 34, and that was in my head. And the fact that you just said that, just those dots connected, and the universe just opened up to me.
I have been watching their new
Oh, we lost him. Are you there?
Lost who? I'm right here.
Oh, your voice went and then you went out for a second.
Oh, I could see you clearly. Maybe it was, I don't know. But yeah, so we got another comment, Midman4. I did go and after Zach's comment last week where he called out Pikmin, I went and visited him. I went to his front door to confront him about this, and I'd just like to make an announcement that he has never played a Pikmin game. I did get the confirmation.
Adrian, you got some flack here. Jose says, never put Pikmin and Rule 34 in the same sentence again.
Don't look at my search history then.
Matt Walls, well, if it exists, there's Rule 34 for it. That's exactly what the rule is.
Yep, that's it.
And you know Rule 35?
No.
That Rule 35 says if porn doesn't exist, it will be made.
Oh, well then that just covers all the bases.
Yeah, it's the sequel.
Now here's a question. Do you think that all the Rule 34 images are the Pikmin men or women?
This is going down a really dark hole.
Just what do you, off the top, what do you think?
You asking me or chat?
You.
I'm going to say it's a healthy mix of both.
Only women.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of people are having fantasies about landing on a planet full of little plant women. Ugh, this live stream is going to some interesting places. Zach says Pikmin 4 equals the Marvels. I expect that to be Adrian's review when the movie comes out, if it's really good.
I don't have anything else to say to him. He hasn't played them.
Oof. A rift in the friendship is happening live, ladies and gentlemen, over the Pikmin. Anyhow, well, if you have any last-minute comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, or you want to joke about me, I don't know, just go ahead and throw them in the comments. Adrian, if anyone wants to follow us online to kind of know when we go live and when we post things, where can we do that?
We can go to Real Watchers on Instagram. We post content there, and when we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on YouTube and Twitch. Also at Real Watchers, that's REEL Watchers. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell, because Garrett does put a lot of hard work into additional videos that come out here, almost like video essays and other things like that. They've been getting really good feedback, so make sure to subscribe and check those out, as well as you'll see us every Tuesday for movie news. And then on Twitch, that's mostly just where we do the live streams. We also stream there, so if you are a Twitch fan, go ahead and check it out there.
That is absolutely correct. We got a couple of last comments in here. Jose says, I thought this was about movies. Why are we going down that rabbit hole? Think of the children. Yep.
A child wouldn't know what Rule 34 or 35 was, so I think we're clear.
Yeah. Matt Walls, how's the weather? Well, I don't know where you're at, Matt, but here where I'm at in lovely Southern California, it's too hot. I don't know about you, Adrian.
It's been warm. It definitely was cool enough today to go for a run outside, whereas like the previous week was just, and this weekend was roasting. Visiting Zach, who's in the chat, it was 110 degrees. So that was rough.
Yeah, Zach, I want to go visit you, but 110 degrees, I'm going the other way. Sorry. I've got some extra meat on my bones. I don't need to start sweating that much. Speaking of Zach, Rule 35, O'Keefe Modeling Agency.
That's what Garrett says. You know what Rule 35 is, right? O'Keefe Modeling Agency.
That's just my OnlyFans. That's currently in the red.
The OMA.
That sounds like some shady government organization.
It does. One of the three-letter ones.
It's just one of the nasty three-letter ones. Anyhow, Gatsby says, happy birthday, Zach. Happy belated birthday again to you, good sir. Public for the world to see. Happy belated birthday.
Now they can narrow it down. If you can look up a town that was 110 degrees, someone whose birthday was this past weekend, you can find where Zach lives and beat him up for not liking Pikmin.
Zach's getting DDoSed over the level of hatred for Pikmin. Meat on my bones. Okay. You didn't even have the marketing focus. Why are you so good at these? What the heck? I love it. That's Meat on My Bones was the name of my debut album in high school. I don't know if you know about that.
I didn't know about that. That was bluegrass music, right?
It was actually electro jazz.
Oh, you should probably be able to give us a sample of what that sounded like.
Darn, I'm on my laptop, not my desktop. It's not.
All your
not
files.
Here with me. My files, no.
You wait your whole life. You wait your whole life for a moment like this, and you forget the files.
Zach says, "Smash the like button." Of course, please do. We would love to see some likes. Love it, love it, love it. But thank you so much, everyone. If you have any last-minute comments, let's go ahead and get them in before we sign out for the night. I got 2 doggies that need some playing with.
Those are your feet.
Yeah. I got to get them in shape for the OnlyFans, you know. Need the dogs. Actually, you know, let me see if I can get one of the dogs in here.
I thought you were going to put your feet up.
I'm not that limber. This isn't my debut album, after all. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get one of the dogs in here.
All right. Well, now that it's just you and I chat, we could talk about how we really feel about Garrett. Oh, never mind, guys. I think he can still hear.
I can still hear you.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and delete those comments we were all typing, and we'll just wait for him to bring in a dog. Looks like we're getting close. He is, for those of you listening audio, he's got a dog.
I have a dog. Hello, Boomer. Say hello to the internet. Say hello. Hello. You're gonna be famous now. You're gonna get us all the subscribers. Oh my gosh, you're being squirrely.
As you flail him around.
He jumped out of my arms.
You're gonna get us so many subscribers.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We got an awe in the chat. Oh, you're back. Oh, I have your toy. I'm sorry. Woo! Anyhow. Boomer! That's a cute dog. Yes. My parents have good taste when they got their dog. He's very cute. Oh my God, Sir Humps-a-Lot. Poor Nadia is the only person to exist that has been humped by him. And rigorously, unfortunately. Zach, how many glizzies can Boomer eat in a minute? See, that's the thing. And if Nadia and Kevin are still here in the chat, they will testify. Boomer could probably eat 30.
No.
I'm definitely overselling it. He could eat more than you and I could, though.
Yeah.
He's
a dog.
ravenous little beast. He literally, okay, so Nadia was over last night. We had a game night. If you follow her on Instagram, you can go see it, Horror and More. But she had these little treats, and they were little like churros. They're about maybe 2 inches long, and
That's
she gives one to Boomer. He bites it in half, eats the first half, and then swallowed the second half whole.
Damn.
So he'll be able to deep throat a glizzy, no problem.
I 100% believe a dog can eat faster than a human. I just don't think 30 is.
100%. 30 is outrageous. Yeah, I was definitely overselling it. He could eat more than I could, though. Boomer can swallow a whole damn mini churro whole. Yep. Damn dog's gonna be unhealthy for weeks. Alrighty. Well, way to upswell Boomer. I think you mean upsell, but seems like setting the bar too high. You never, honestly, you haven't seen him eat, Zach. He could do it.
I didn't like how you whispered for that. We'll end on.
That, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this week for Real Watchers. I'll be back in my normal habitat next week. But make sure. Oh, jeez. Deep throat a glizzy, O'Keefe modeling. Okay, now we're getting a little too crazy. Thank you for that, Zach. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We will see you all next week on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Got 2 films to watch. It was Tremors and
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me. I didn't write down Stand By Me, but I should probably do that. Tremors and Stand By Me covered next week, and whatever happens in the wide world of film that's not been delayed or stopped due to strikes. But until then, keep your eyes on the screen. Have a good night, everyone.